Hi, my name is Martin. I had been married to my wife for 5 years. When I first saw her, I thought she was the most beautiful woman I had ever met. We were together for a year before I asked her to marry me, and I felt like I was the luckiest man in the world. As our time together progressed, I only came to love her more and more. Then, one day, she gave me the news I had wanted to hear for so long.
Martin!
Yes, darling?
I'm pregnant.
You're pregnant? Oh, my darling, this is wonderful news. We have so much to prepare for. The announcement that changed my entire life and our whole marriage. I thought it would be for the better, but as the months went on, I realized that I did not view my wife the same anymore. My beautiful wife was fading before my eyes.
Martin, honey, does this dress make me look fat?
No, of course not. You could never look fat carrying our child. It was true. My wife could never look fat. But as the months continued to pass on, she began to take less and less care of herself. She would constantly wear baggy shirts and sweatpants. She would stop doing her makeup, and I would constantly come home to a messy house.
Good morning, Martin.
So, when my secretary, Kara, began to show an interest in me, I decided to give in to my temptations.
Martin, what if someone sees us? It'll be bad for us. For you.
Don't worry, baby. The door is closed and locked, which means anyone wanting to come into my office must knock first. And the blinds are closed, which will keep people's prying eyes away. No one can see us. My affair with Kara continued throughout my wife's pregnancy, and even after she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. I wanted to stop the affair, but I slowly came to realize that I loved my son, but I did not love my wife.
You aren't happy in your marriage. Leave your wife. Be with me instead.
I can't leave my son. I love you, Kara, but I need to be able to provide for my child. Kara started to become impatient with me, to the point where she began to threaten me.
If you don't leave your wife, I'll just have to tell her about our affair. See how she enjoys that.
But she never followed through on her threat. She didn't have to. Jessica had noticed my sudden change and suspected I had an affair, and she snooped and found evidence on my laptop and found emails with me and Kara, and everything I told Kara about how my wife had added weight and I wasn't attracted to her anymore. One day, I came home to my wife sitting at the table with a brown envelope in front of her and divorce papers next to it.
I know about Kara and the affair.
Jessica, I can explain everything to you.
I don't want your explanations. I want you to sign the divorce papers, without argument.
But what about Archie?
I won't keep you away from your son, but you and I have no other business being together. I want you to sign these divorce papers and move out of the house.
No amount of explaining or pleading I did with Jessica seemed to suffice. She wouldn't hear it, so I moved out of her house and in with Kara. Jessica didn't take me to court. I was happy to pay child support for our son. In return, Jessica was kind enough to let me have him on the weekends. But I didn't see her much after that. It was always her mother or her father who would bring Archie out to me whenever I took him home. It would be them who answered the door. My life with Kara continued.
Martin, I'm pregnant.
That's wonderful, baby.
We should start looking at cribs and names. Oh, what are we going to name the baby?
Calm down, darling. I'm sure we'll figure something out. The next time I saw Jessica, it was to deliver the news that Kara was pregnant, that Archie would have a step-sibling. She was kind enough to meet me in a local cafe with Archie so I could spend some time with him. When I saw her, I was taken aback the moment I first saw her. She was my wife again. Hair done, makeup, nice clothes, baby weight gone. She was playing with Archie at the table when I saw them.
Martin, good to see you.
Hello, Jessica. You look... wow.
I'm aware. Now, what is it that you wanted to discuss?
Kara and I are going to have a baby.
That's wonderful. Archie will love having somebody to play with. Congratulations. I hope she doesn't experience you falling out of love with her like you did with me.
Jessica, I
don't want to hear it, Martin. The only business we have together now is with Archie.
She was right. I knew Jessica was right. But none of that stopped me from admiring her that afternoon. Or stop old feelings that I had long since believed to be buried resurface for her. I realized that afternoon I made a mistake. Jessica had always been beautiful. Giving birth to Archie shouldn't have caused me to think otherwise. I should have considered the amount of time it would take for Jessica to get back to her old ways and find herself again, but I didn't allow that. And now, my family was torn into two, with my son having two different homes. Thanks for watching. Please comment and subscribe.
My name is Kathy, and I'm 22 years old, working at a law firm. I have always had a boring appearance. I'm not exciting, just plain and ordinary. Unlike my younger twin sister, Izzy, who was a shining bright star. Being fraternal twins meant that we shared everything, just not our looks. Izzy was loud and confident, while I was reserved and chill. It was hard to get along with each other because of that. She was an attention seeker, craving it from our peers and parents. My mom and dad doted on her, and sometimes I felt like they just tolerated me. After high school, I had a falling out with her over a makeover. She wanted to change my appearance so that she could post us together for her social media accounts, but I never cared for that type of stuff. She had blown up in my face and told me I was ugly. She ran to our parents and made a massive live about how I never was nice to her. When they took her side, I decided it was time for me to leave. I applied for an apartment near the college I was accepted to, and I concluded to make my path the best it could be. I met a guy named Tristan in an econ class. He was a business major. He was breathtakingly confident and drew me in with a cool charm. After meeting his parents, he wanted me to introduce him to my family. When my sister met Tristan, I could see her become jealous. After that, she put all the flirtatious moves she could on him. He eventually succumbed to my sister and called me over the phone to break up. You're breaking up with me over the phone? That's super cowardly.
No, I'm not good enough for you.
Ah, so you're trying to make me break up with you? I see. He explains to me that he fell in love with my sister, of all people, and that they both have similar values. I felt betrayed by my sister. Even if we weren't on speaking terms, I didn't expect her to break the sister code without a bat of an eye. The only reason why I wasn't too upset was because I found out something super weird about him and was planning on breaking up with him myself. A few years later, I get an invite to my sister's wedding via email. As soon as I received the email, she called. She asked me to RSVP no. The only reason she invited me was because Mom told her she had to. Izzy wanted me to tell Mom that I couldn't make it because of work, so she wouldn't have Mom put too much stress on her before the wedding. I asked her why. She said it was because I wasn't as beautiful as her or her bridesmaid, and it was a very posh event. Tristan's family comes from money, and she doesn't want my appearance to ruin the atmosphere. I sometimes think that my sister and I are so different that there must have been a switch at the hospital when we were born. I agree, because I definitely think it's in bad taste to go to your ex's wedding, and especially if it includes your younger sister as well. I decline the invitation. I focus on work and get multiple angry calls from my mother. She gives me speeches on how family should stick together. I stop answering her calls. After the wedding and honeymoon, Izzy calls me and says some interesting stuff. She tells me that the reason why I couldn't work out with Tristan was because I was not the chosen one. That only the strong can be chosen, and that I was weak. My poor older sister. You will never be able to understand true love, and that is okay, because I will experience it for the both of us. This bounding string of fate. First off, I love the whole fate speech. I also, by the way, have a boyfriend right now. Are you on drugs? Do you need an intervention? You're talking a little insane right now. Bye-bye, my sad old hermit of a sister. Don't be jealous forever. I was telling my current boyfriend, Abel, about my sister and the strange phone call. We met at an art show. He's an ancient artifact researcher, and he had a brilliant mind. He thinks it sounds like she's been taking drugs, too. I tell Abel a curveball. Well, I'm pretty sure Tristan's in a cult. Abel doesn't take me seriously until he sees my face. I know. How can Tristan be in a cult? Also, why did I never tell Izzy? I found out one day when I was at his apartment during the time we were still dating. He had left his phone open when he went to go for a shower, and I noticed a video on pause on the screen. I snooped and noticed that the video was of him leading a cult-like speech to an audience of figures hidden by cloaks. It was an alarming bit of information. So I snooped around his place and saw books with titles on manipulation and mind training. It was right before he met Izzy, and to be fair, Izzy made her own choice on seducing Tristan. Abel was surprised when I told him, but he also gave me some mind-boggling info. Almost a whole year later, I saw my sister at a coffee place. She had lost that youthful glow she carried, and it was replaced with a thin, pale version. When she sees me, she swoops over. She tells me that Tristan is crazy. I tell her that's what happens when you date a cult leader. She is shocked that I knew, and is very angry I never told her. I didn't realize I had to share my ex-boyfriend's details with his, at the time, mistress. I take pity on Izzy and tell her everything Abel told me about the cult. It is a one-leader-oriented cult where they deprive you of proper sleep and protein while filling you with mostly coffee and vegetables. Coffee opens you up to the power of suggestion, and lack of protein can cause weakness and fatigue. This makes it easier for the leader, Tristan, to manipulate. She tells me she knew this all already because she is part of the cult. Most of her friends and family were tricked into becoming members as well. I feel bad for my parents, but they are old enough to make their own decisions and mistakes. Izzy yells at me for not telling her and screams at how disloyal I am. I laugh and tell her that she is on her own. After that, I do not hear from them again. I find out on the news that a local cult has been found and disbanded. Most of the members had invested a high amount of money for the cult that they can never have back. My mom and dad have a month of community service. Tristan is arrested for multiple accounts of fraud and tax evasion. He will be in prison for a couple of months. Izzy is sent to an asylum for reversion therapy. I get promoted at my law firm, and Abel and I get engaged. I will always be happy with being the boring, normal sister with a happy life. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.